We all have busy schedules, so many of us like to make a list to keep track of things and make sure that nothing gets overlooked. Hello, I'm Betty Hollister, Public Information Manager with the Regional Flood Control District, and welcome to another edition of the Flood Channel from the Springs Preserve. The weather's getting warmer, so many of us are starting those to-do or checklists for spring cleaning around the house. Coming up on today's program, we'll send our Flood Channel environmental detective on a dirty assignment to show you some cleaning and disposal tips to help protect the environment and Lake Mead. Then we'll look at a priority list the Flood District is making that keeps track of flood control projects that are fully designed and waiting for construction funding in this tight economy. After that, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look at the making of our latest public service announcement that uses a Men in Black theme that hopefully will make you smile. All that and our Flood 101 and Pollution Solution segments on this checklist edition of the Flood Channel. Welcome back to the Flood Channel from the Springs Preserve, where you can learn a lot about our valley's history and protecting the environment. We begin our Flood Channel checklist show by taking you on a top secret mission to discover how to protect our desert land and lake. Special Agent Carrie Ann is on the case.
Good luck on your mission.
Thanks, Agent Zach. I'm on it. Protecting the environment is a case we all need to solve. While throwing wrappers and drink cups out the window may not seem like a big deal, trash can clog storm drains, cause flooding, and pollute Lake Mead. Let's take a closer look. Here's our first big clue. Not only can clogged storm drains cause flooding, but the trash you see here could eventually make its way to Lake Mead, our primary source of drinking water. But you can help us solve the case. Just call the number on your screen to report clogged storm drains or any channel or detention basin filled with trash.
Well, the primary reason we see it as important is because anything that is dumped or discharged into a wash, into a gutter, or into a storm drain flows untreated to Lake Mead. And that's our primary source of drinking water, so we're very concerned about anything that would get into this water body. This is certainly something that requires participation from everybody in the Las Vegas Valley. Unfortunately, one bad player can cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. I think the primary differences that we've seen is public awareness, because many people years ago did not realize that what gets discharged into the storm drain flows directly to the lake with no treatment whatsoever. And as awareness from that goes up, people are responding accordingly, and they're responding in how they conduct their own business, how they conduct business within their households, and reporting when they see it happening in another place because they realize the seriousness. Well, it brings a lot of job satisfaction to know that what we do makes a difference, and it doesn't just make a difference for us personally, but it makes a difference for our community.
Look at that, another clue in our Help Clean the Environment mission. With so many foreclosed homes in the valley, green, slimy, and unattended pools could be a real health problem. Now, draining these dirty pools might seem like a good idea, but if you don't do it right, you could be causing another problem for the environment. So what should people do to solve the case of the slimy pool?
Well, I work for a group called Vector Control, and Vector Control, really you're looking at animal diseases as a potential vector. Now, what vector means is kind of like a vehicle, something that can take disease from one thing and transfer it to another. So whether you're talking about a mosquito as being that vector or a rodent being a vector, we do vector control. Over the past 4 years, we have seen a real significant increase in our stagnant swimming pool response, which is part of mosquito control. In fact, in 2005, we had a little over 1,000 pools, which increased to about 1,500 pools in 2007. And then last year, '08, we had over 2,800 pools. So that gradual increase certainly has something to do with the number of abandoned homes. Well, generally, the pool that's been abandoned just for several weeks can become a real mosquito breeding issue. With our heat that we have, any chemical that's in that pool is going to very quickly evaporate, and you're going to have a lot of algae starting to grow, and in that stagnant water you start to see mosquitoes.
It's unfortunate, but there's so many houses now that are bank owned or foreclosed, and if they have a pool, 9 times out of 10, if you're lucky, most of them are green. If you can see the bottom of the pool, the basic rule of thumb is you could clear it up with chemicals, but you'd have to have a really good filtration system. If you don't have that, you just might as well drain it, because it could be pretty costly if you're working with the chemicals. If it's murky, you just want to drain it. It's less cost to the homeowner. It's always best to call a professional. I've had a couple homeowners that have done it themselves and flooded their house because they didn't do it correctly, or they put it in the wrong trap. Because the pump's running, pumping out more water than the pipe can take. So it's usually best to call a professional. Well, if a homeowner decides they want to do it themselves, which I usually discourage, they want to definitely make sure they go through the right steps. There's a lot of things involved that you don't think about. You want to turn your main breaker off so you don't have your pump running when the pool's empty. If you have an automatic water fill, you want to turn that off because you're filling your pool as you're draining it. But you just take it out to the front. You got to find your P-trap. Sometimes it's difficult to locate because of the rockscape. Sometimes they're in the garage. You just got to kind of look for that first and then go with the rest of the setup.
Well, when you see people pumping their pools into their streets, it is illegal for many reasons. One, including that it is harmful to the environment. You have an enormous amount of water. I mean, some pools are upwards of 20,000 gallons that are essentially just going wherever that water wants to go once you've just drained it. And that could be a neighbor's yard, that could be down the storm drain in areas that it shouldn't be going.
It's a pretty hefty fine if the city catches you. But if it goes down into the storm drains, again, it goes to Lake Mead, it'll contaminate the water. You've got chemicals in the pool. If it's green, you've got mosquito larvae. It's just something you don't want to do for going down the storm drains. Well, some of the chemicals that are in the pool obviously are chlorine. You got acid. All pools have conditioner in it, which is cyanuric acid. A lot of the pool water has a lot of minerals because of the copper piping in the home. So sometimes you'll throw a chemical in there to try to neutralize that. So, eventually over years, you got a conglomerate of chemicals in there. So you want to dispose of it properly.
One of the things that we see working in vector control are a lot of neighbors who peek over their fence at their neighbor's yard, notice a green swimming pool, and then call our office. So what we have set up is a mosquito control hotline, which is 759-1633. And we take thousands of calls every year on that line.
You definitely want to call the health department. If you see a green pool, just call them right on. If you call the city, they're going to just turn around and call the health department. Mosquitoes are really bad. We all know about the West Nile virus. You don't want that. Algae and mold is always an issue for people with respiratory problems. So that's another thing.
Well, as you know, West Nile virus has been a community concern since 2004. And now that you have all of these backyard breeding sites, you have a potential to have mosquitoes breeding that can transmit West Nile in our communities. Most people that get infected by West Nile virus never even know they have the virus. It's about 1 in 20 people that ever even show symptoms. Now, those symptoms can generally be flu-like symptoms, a fever, weakness, sometimes a rash, and then they'll get over it. But there's a small percentage of people, about 1 in 150, that can actually get some severe neurological symptoms. The virus attacks the nervous system. And so the symptoms associated with that, they're very severe, include coma, stupor, disorientation, convulsions, and there is no cure for West Nile virus. So in order to help somebody recover from that, you have to use essentially supportive therapy. So it can take a long time for people to get better.
When I see somebody draining a pool in the street, or you see that the system is set up to where it's eventually going to be going in the street, it just kind of makes me mad because I'm a licensed professional. I feel that people that do that don't take the time to go get their license. It just makes a bad name for the rest of us. You want to go out there and do a good job. You want to do it right. You want to be right for the homeowner as well as, you know, your community. And it kind of makes me mad to see that, because it just makes us all look bad.
Our mission has led us to the garage, where many of you may soon be starting your spring cleaning. Throwing potentially dangerous chemicals, oils, or paints in the trash can pollute the environment. When you're ready to toss those harmful chemicals, make sure you do it the right way. Republic Services will accept them at either their Henderson or North Las Vegas locations. You can also recycle old computers or televisions. Just check out the Republic Services website for details. Spring cleaning also means getting those carpets cleaned. Let's investigate how to dispose of those harmful chemicals.
Well, in a standard procedure, when I get to a client's home, I'll of course talk with the client, then I stage and set up everything I need to do. And then I have a fresh water supply in my truck of good clean water that is used to clean. And then as I clean, the carpet gets damp, and then as it sucks up all of those cleaning solutions and all of the soils out of the carpet, it goes through a hose back into a 100-gallon reclamation tank in the truck. There's places where I can go that are licensed and authorized to dump these wastes and these things. You don't want to be just dumping stuff down in the sewer or down the sink in your house, paints and things like that. It's not safe and it's not legal. I mean, there's cleaning chemicals in there and solutions and solvents that are used to release the soils from the carpet, and now they're going down the street. Birds could drink out of it, anything. OSHA regulates it. There's a lot of carpet cleaners that are a little shady, and then you may say they'll clean your house and maybe they'll just dump it down the street outside. Last time I checked, that was as much as a $7,000 fine through OSHA if you get caught doing that. And there is a lot of very, very good green, clean, and organic chemicals out there these days that are viable options, and the rules are the same. You do have to put it in a containment space in the truck and drop it in a sanitary sewer.
Okay. The reason it's so important for everybody in the Las Vegas Valley to take a part in keeping our surface waters clean, keeping our stormwater clean, is that it all drains to Las Vegas Wash and into Lake Mead, where we get our drinking water. If you were to go down to the Clark County Wetlands Preserve and look at what they've done down there to enhance and provide a way for people to get into that habitat, you'd see how important it is to protect the quality of the water that gets down to that point. It is the environment and this planet that sustains humankind. So it's important to all of us to protect the environment in any way that we can, because it is what sustains us and improves our quality of life.
It's aggravating to see and hear of other people who are doing these other things, dumping their waste down the street, because one, it brings bad light on our industry, and it's not a well-respected industry as it is because there's a lot of shady characters, and then when you meet them, it upsets me, it makes me look bad, it makes other people like me who are trying to do a good job bad, and I'm sure it's the same in most industries. We want to try to whittle those people down and catch them and make them stop doing those things.
Betty, this case may be solved for now, but our mission is far from complete. Through a little teamwork and a few changes at home, we can help make Clark County a great place to live. Give me a high five.
Thanks, Carrie Ann and Zach. And we'll be back with more on the Flood Channel right after this.
I'm Agent Smith.
And I'm Agent Jones.
And we're busting people who pollute Clark County.
Hey, who are you guys?
Sir, please step back.
Hey, what are you doing?
Aha! Judged by your reaction, you don't like trash.
No.
Sir, this is yours. We saw you dump it out of your car.
Well, I was...
Sir, did you know trash and clogged storm drains cause flooding and pollute Lake Mead?
Sir, is Clark County your home?
Yeah.
And you don't like trash in your home?
No.
Then why would you dump trash in Clark County? Don't trash Clark County. It's our home, too.
Hi, I'm Lillian Langeway with Diamond Lil's Pool Service, and you're watching the Flood Channel.
See that clogged storm drain? Something like that, when it rains, will cause water to back up and flood our streets. Hello, Regional Flood Control District. I'd like to report a clogged storm drain. City and county employees are working hard to keep your storm drains clean. If you spot a clogged storm drain, call and report it.
Help protect the environment by keeping our drains and washes clean. Report clogged storm drains by calling 685-0000.
Don't press your luck. Steer clear of floodwater.
When is flash flood season?
Flash flood season in southern Nevada is July through September, but history has shown us that flash flooding can happen in every month of the year, not just during the hot summer months. So remember to always be flood safe. Welcome back to the Flood Channel. The Flood Control District's mission is to design and build flood control projects to minimize the flood risk. These projects cost millions of dollars, so how is the tough economy affecting our progress? Carrie Ann checks out how to get in line.
Thanks, Betty. Since 1986, the district has built detention basins and channels throughout Clark County. Today, just 1 mile of channel can cost almost $7 million, and a detention basin costs even more. But tough economic times and budget constraints have left many organizations with less money. That's why the district has had to put new projects ready for construction on a waiting list. So what's the plan to get those projects built?
3 years ago, we did some financial planning based on what we knew up to that point, and we had anticipated to go out for bonding in the tune of $300 million in the next year. Our revenues are 10% or more down from what we had anticipated. The national bonding market for municipal bonds is not that attractive right now as far as the interest rates. While we're still planning to go ahead, we're hopeful that when we go and try to sell the bonds to the banks in the September-October timeframe of this year, that we'll get some good interest rates and go forward. Bonding is, in simple terms, I guess, like a home mortgage. It would be like a 30-year loan that we pay back the principal and interest to a bank. It gives us an opportunity to get additional cash to build projects to protect life and property. We bond because there's more projects ready to go out to construction than we have resources available. If we just did this all under a pay-as-you-go scenario, it would take a long time to get these projects in the ground.
Well, this is the lower Flamingo Detention Basin site. It's located at the northwest corner of Tropicana and Decatur. This is really a great site for a detention basin because we have 3 washes that come together at this site. 1 small wash from the south and 2 washes that come in from the northwest. They all converge right at this one location. So we can build 1 detention basin and store flow from 3 different watersheds. This is an 80-acre site. About 26 acres of the site will be used for the detention basin. We're actually reserving 7 acres at the west end of the site for the Las Vegas buckwheat. There's a population of Las Vegas buckwheat on this site that we're trying to preserve. Some plants that will be impacted by the construction will be transplanted to this 7-acre portion.
Every project in our plan is critical. We're trying to implement our plan uniformly throughout the entire service area, which is the entire Clark County. The projects that come in are on a first-come, first-served basis because nobody can tell us where it's going to rain next. You know, and that's the only fair way to do it is first-come, first-serve. In that we're going to knock these out as quick as possible, and hopefully we're successful in bonding so they all go to construction within the next year.
We have a number of projects that have been designed. The entities have come to the Regional Flood Control District for funding. Our board has put those projects on a priority list so we know which projects to build when funding becomes available. This project is one of those projects that's on the priority list. It's in line for funding. Well, actually, this is going to be a multi-use facility. We're going to not only have a detention basin here, but we're teaming up with Clark County Parks and Recreation to build a multi-use facility. A park will be built here as well. There'll be soccer fields in the bottom of the basin, and then around the outskirts of the detention basin, there'll be parking and other park amenities, picnic tables, and things of that nature. Our detention basins are dry 95% of the year. They're only used really when it's raining, and so it makes good use of that extra space if we can use it when during dry conditions. So we don't have a problem using parks, putting parks in detention basins. We're concerned about public safety, and we need to make sure that people know to get out of the detention basin when it's raining if you're playing on the soccer field.
Currently, we have 82 detention basins and 515 miles of channel and underground storm drain that is protecting the residents in Clark County. We have another 57 detention basins and 329 miles of channel and underground storm drain to build. We have 10 projects totaling $150 million on this list, which is going to be part of those 57 basins and 329 miles of channel. That helps us get closer to reducing the flood risk to this community. It's important for us that we do all these planning and we have these master plans. We have lines on pieces of paper but those lines don't protect life and property. It's the projects in the ground that protect life and property. You know, these are very difficult economic times that we're going through, not only in southern Nevada, but nationally. These projects are designed to protect life and property, and we can't go forward without getting the resources. But we're not the only ones in this boat. The whole nation is in this boat, talking to other flood control districts and other counties across the nation. We'd like to do more in a shorter period of time, yes. We are playing with the cards we're currently dealt, and that we're going to do these as quick as we can. But there are so many competing priorities for funding out there that it's going to be hard to go forward. At the same time, what we've done internally to our staff is we've cut back quite a bit on some expenses to try to get us through these times, because we want the majority of the money that we receive, at 90% or more, to go to either build projects or pay off past loans on projects. So we're committed to that, and we're going to continue to be committed to that in the future.
We're looking at any source available to provide funding for these projects. We have the sales tax coming in, but we're also looking at outside financing to try to get these projects under construction. The projects don't really do us any good when they're on the drawing board. They're just lines on paper right now. We really need to get them out into the community, get these projects constructed so that they're providing some flood control benefit for the community.
Of course, the district's #1 priority is to continue minimizing the valley's flood risk. Careful budget planning and competitive bids for new construction are two ways the district is already helping stretch flood control dollars. Betty, I think my checklist is complete.
Thanks, Carrie Ann. Coming up after the break, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look at the making of our latest public service announcement. Stay right there.
Springtime, when thoughts turn to cleaning? Hey, it's great you want to clean out your garage. Just be careful where you dispose of things like old paint, batteries, pesticides, weed killer, and other potentially dangerous chemicals. Many things can be left out on recycling day. However, dangerous pollutants must go to a recycling center for proper disposal. Never dump into a storm drain. It may end up polluting Lake Mead, our primary source of drinking water. Learn more at lvstormwater.com. Brought to you by the